Okay, back on the trend of talking about things a few days after they're noteworthy because I am on a trip and because I am pre-recording some audio. Today what we're going to be doing is talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs and an idea that has been floating around, pretty much revealing who the odd man out is from this team's core four. Now, of course, the reason we are talking about the Leafs is because of one William Nylander. He is a very good hockey player. He has been the heart and soul of the Maple Leafs this season. You don't need me to tell you how good he has been because everybody and their mother has been telling you how good he has been this season. Unanimous point-producing leader for the Maple Leafs. He is a game changer in his own right. He has ascended beyond that level of a Matthews and a Marner in terms of on-ice impact and overall prowess. There is just so much good that William Nylander is providing for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and because he is expiring as a UFA, there is so much insecurity in Toronto as to whether or not they'd actually be able to keep him. Oh, they should have signed him at a $9 million AAV deal in the offseason. Oh, why would they do that? He's not worth that money. He's making $6.9 million right now. Are you going to give him that pay raise to 9? Well, if you had that opportunity, you probably should have, because right now William Nylander is playing in that $11.5 to $12 million caliber sort of talent pool. He's been so good that you could very well say he is worth more than what Mitch Marner is right now. He could be worth more than what Auston Matthews got in his last contract, not the $13 million like the one he's getting on the next contract, but the last contract. And he certainly should be paid more than John Tavares at $11 million a year. Nylander is that gosh darn good. But if the Toronto Maple Leafs were going to have to make a signing to get this done, it would certainly be at the behest of one or multiple of the other contracts that the Maple Leafs have on their team right now. Our question and our topic revolves around the idea, asking who on the Toronto Maple Leafs core four is the odd man out. Now, to help us out with this entire idea, we're going over onto hockeypatrol.com because what Graham Montgomery did on November 21st was he pretty much revealed it based off of what was said on a podcast. Reporter reveals which core four member of the Leafs is the odd man out. The article talks about William Nylander being super good and how they don't have the appropriate cap space to be able to sign Nylander with a big raise, etc., etc. Here is what Leafs reporter Jay Rosehill said on the Leafs Nation podcast earlier this week as well. It's tough, man. They've got their hands tied, and if you're going to untie them, you have to undo those four. You can't just free something up with no value. It has to be something with value. It has to hurt a little bit. And to me, Mitch Marner, with the way he plays, I think he is the odd man out. Now, attached in the body of this article, by the way, links are going to be in the description of both the article and the video clip that is linked in here too. It is the podcast clip from the Leafs Nation podcast where Jay Rosehill literally says in the title that he thinks that Marner is the odd man out. But this article that we're reading from actually goes out there and analyzes the situation a bit more. So far this season, at the time of this writings publication, Marner is third on the Leafs in scoring behind Nylander and Matthews. In terms of goals, he is tied for fourth. ID Matthew Nyes. I mean, that's a spelling mistake if I've ever seen a spelling mistake. Matthew Nyes has just 5. John Tavares, the other member of the core four, has just 1 fewer point than Marner, but 2 more goals. If the Leafs are going to be forced to move on from one of them, perhaps Marner is the right fit. Nylander is a pending UFA this summer, but he's playing the best hockey of his career at the moment. The article then concludes at the bottom here, the Leafs have reportedly been in continuous contract negotiations with Nylander all season. Although a deal has not materialized yet, the fact that they are talking means it is unlikely that the team will suddenly try to move on from him. Tavares is the oldest of the core four, but he is also the team's captain. Matthews is obviously untouchable, so that could indeed make Marner the odd man out should the team be in desperate need to move some cap or otherwise restructure the team. Another interesting part about this entire conversation is if you go over to the Leafs Nation podcast clip, wherein Rosehill talks about Marner, the majority of the comments from other Toronto Maple Leafs fans all say the same thing, that even though it would hurt, even though it doesn't feel good, this is the logical, rational conclusion if you were to do a process of elimination type deal with Matthews, Marner, and Tavares. These 3 guys are each important, but when it comes to the magnitude as to how important they are, hey, there certainly are some varying perspectives to be had. John Tavares and Marner, firstly, they both expire at the end of 24-25. So if you wanted to say, okay, you have to commit to one of them long term, or the other is going to be going away, like, you may have had to already face that crossroads situation next year anyway. John Tavares, even though he is 33 years old, he still is a pretty good player, and he is the captain of the team. There's a heart and soul kind of element to his game that is ever so present. Auston Matthews, you can't trade that guy away. You just signed into an extension. He's making $13.25 million starting in 24-25 till the end of 2028. He is going to be the most expensive player in the NHL. That is not a guy that you trade. I'm sorry. He's not it. Mitch Marner, on the other hand, has been sort of the whipping boy for a lot of Toronto media the past few years, and that's not even the only reason to go out there and consider trading him. Not only is his cap hit one of the highest paid wingers in the entire NHL, but Marner also has this quality where it's like, if you had to choose who's the most important, his zone, roving, playmaking style might not be seen as more important as the combination of leadership and skill that Tavares has, and the goal-scoring, franchise-defining, face-of-the-league type material profile that Auston Matthews has. If you needed to trade one of these guys, Marner is the easy choice. And it gets even crazier when you acknowledge that Marner has been in such an odd position the past few years, because every time people talk about the Maple Leafs struggling in the playoffs, they talk about, oh, the Leafs got eliminated in Game 7 again in the first round, the Leafs got eliminated in Game 5 in the play-in series all those years ago. Everybody talks about Marner. The guy always seems to have himself a fumble that is so bad. Either he chucks the puck over the glass against Montreal, or he doesn't show up in the best ways in an elimination game, that this guy always ends up becoming the brunt end of jokes endlessly as the Maple Leafs lose more series. Even last year, everybody was talking about how Nylander was like the only guy to show up against Florida and actually produce points. The other players in the Big Four, were not able to. Nothing really out of Tavares, Marner, and Matthews from last year's playoff series against the Cats. Sure, against the Lightning they did well, and there was a lot of production to go around there, but hey, I feel like a lot of people don't even really care that the Maple Leafs won in the first round back then. Now the biggest topic is the choke job they pulled off in round number 2. Marner has been the unfortunate face of all Toronto misfortunes because of the cap hit, because of the mistakes, and because of the quality of play that he provides. He is not a super flashy goal scorer like Matthews is. He's a flashy playmaker who sometimes makes bad reads. Sure, Marner has very good highlights and he can dangle the pants off of you, but he just isn't the guy that many Maple Leafs fans and analysts are saying should be kept over William Nylander. If Nylander continues playing like this for the remainder of the season, he gets 120, 130 points, then you are absolutely not going to do yourself any favors by letting this guy go to the open market and losing out on him for free. You've got to trade somebody away. Trade somebody to open up the cap space to get Nylander and get a boatload of crap in return for that Mitch Marner contract that you're sending off. It really is just a one-year rental anyway. It's not like a team that's super cap-strapped is not going to be able to make this trade because, hey, he expires right after 1 year. All you got to do is get one LTIR contract on your books till the end of 24-25, and you should be okay. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this entire idea that the Toronto Maple Leafs Big Four odd man out has been revealed. It is Mitch Marner. And if you wanted to go out there and read some of the things that we talked about, article is going to be linked in the description if you want to go ahead and read that. Also, the audio clip from the podcast will be linked as well. Let me know your thoughts as to what a Mitch Marner trade could look like. Let me know your thoughts as to whether or not one or all of these guys are going to finish off the season as Toronto Maple Leafs. Matthews, Tavares, Marner, Nylander, who stays, who goes? What do the long-term implications beyond just this season say? Do the Maple Leafs lose out on Tavares too in free agency next year? Is it all going to be worth it if you're able to keep Nylander? Do you think the Leafs are going to be able to keep Nylander? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.